Okay, Vine Church, welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. I have some good friends with me tonight. We're changing it up a little bit. Elizabeth and Skylar, some of our students have joined me tonight to talk through some Bible stuff. How you guys doing?
Good.
Life's good? Yeah, what are you up to these days? Just
Work.
working?
In
Just
school.
working? Are you in school? How many hours are you taking?
I'm taking 3 classes, but one of my classes doesn't even start till October. So, I don't know.
You don't know how many hours you're taking? You're in college. Everything's hours now, not class.
Hours? No, I just
Like
do-
credits?
I just
Yeah, credit hours.
Oh, credit hours? I'm taking 3 classes. Let's say they're probably like 12 credit hours.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah?
Maybe.
You know how many Gordon rules you're taking? Don't even know, do you?
No.
Okay. This is going well. And you're finishing up 12th grade?
Yeah, it's my senior year. So I'm dual enrolled at Valencia, so I'm just taking college
But will you
classes.
go to are you envisioning going to prom and all that? No?
I
You're out on
mean,
that?
I mean,
But you're doing mostly online stuff.
yeah, I am. But I go to prom with my friends. I
Oh,
go
okay.
stag with my friends and stuff like
What I
that.
say, does your
so-
boyfriend go to real school?
Yeah, he goes to Harmony.
Oh,
So
okay.
You
Will
don't go to real school, Skylar.
No, well, I mean, she's too smart.
no,
for
I'm just in a
scrappy
simulation.
Harmony.
It's fine.
Yeah, but will you go to Harmony's prom?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Alright.
So we got homecoming.
That sounds like a blast. All right. You got homecoming coming up?
Yeah, I think like in October. It's like mid-October.
I mean, you didn't go to real school either, so. did
Yeah,
you
I didn't
do any
have
of that
I didn't have prom, homecoming, football games, none of that.
stuff? I just bit my lip.
Let
You
me
get-
know if you guys have a game you want me to come to.
I mean, you
will.
guys had like teacher band night because their teacher.
Oh
played
yeah,
in a
my
band.
teacher was in a band, so like on the weekends he'd get like a bunch of other local bands, and we'd all have like a big like concert
Oh,
in the
boy.
church.
But
There you
forget
go.
football
Awesome.
games.
There you go. You learn something every day. All right, we're in 1 Peter chapter 3. I'm going to put the passage that we're going to be reading tonight on the screen for you, and then we're just going to talk a little bit about it and talk about the outflow of what this would mean. But in verse 9 it says this: "Do not repay evil for evil." Do not repay evil for evil. And don't repay insult for insult. I was talking to the guys about this, and have you noticed that your natural default setting is when hurt to then hurt? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, remember when you were a kid and your brother slapped you?
Oh.
Or the first thing that popped in your mind was, I have to hit him back.
Yeah.
Like, that's the very first thing.
That or cry.
Not me.
Bull honky! Bull.
Not when he's 6 foot,
Oh, yeah.
6'2" and 240 pounds.
And 5 years older or whatever it is, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's not fair.
No, I decked
illustration.
my brother.
Yeah, I mean, you were the older one.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean when,
Yeah.
whoever, your sister, your cousin, your friend, or whatever, it's like, bam. And then it doesn't go away. Here's the other thing you look forward to. All the married people will tell you this, too. You get older, you get in a relationship, the relationship gets deep, you get married. Next thing you know, you're having these little tit-for-tat arguments and blah, 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 and everybody's, escalating on, well, you said, and that gave me the green light to say this. And, the natural setting is to, if you're hurt, to inflict hurt. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do you think girls do this more than guys?
I think it depends on the girls.
Are girls more petty than guys when it comes to relationships?
Heck
stuff like
yes.
this?
I would say yes. I
Yeah?
would say yes. I have a lot of people that I've seen be in really petty situations.
Is it like, do they just like drama? Do you think it's just like,
I don't
is it
know.
like just,
middle school was so bad. Like there was this girl, and she was in this relationship with like a junior, and we were in middle school.
She was in middle school?
Yeah,
with a
it
junior
was.
in high school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. And he gave her a bracelet, and when they stopped talking, she made a whole video and cut up the bracelet in the video. It was-
Well, when you're in middle school, that's what you do.
I was like,
Go hearted.
I was like, whoa. I was like, that's deep.
Yeah.
It was something else.
I just feel like don't you feel like okay, at high school, middle school age, girls are a little more verbal. And guys are like, if it's going to be painful, we're just going to fight. There's going to be a fist fight, then we're going to walk away, everybody's over it. Girls will be like, no. They're going to text it, they're going to say it, they're going to write the note, they're going to start the gossip, they're going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's definitely the exception of the girls that just swing. I mean, there are. I've definitely seen that happen.
Seems a girl fights in your day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Oof.
Definitely
rough.
interesting.
You ever been in a fight?
Me? No.
No?
No.
Never had to duke it
I
out with
just
anybody?
cry. I'm like, stop yelling at me, please. I'm sorry.
Please forgive me. No fights for you?
I don't not any that I remember. So
All right, so let's go with this. Like, have you found yourself when you were hurt wanting to repay, or when you were insulted wanting to insult?
Yes.
You know this feeling, like, okay, boom.
Or like someone blames you for something and you're like, really? You're gonna blame me for that? Like,
Remember when you,
yeah, exactly.
like, all their stuff comes out, then remember when you,
They like to nitpick at stuff from your past. You're like, oh, okay, then let's look back at the beginning of your life.
got it, the pain of it all. So how do you know, and this is a big question, how do you know when the pain that you're holding, now think about this, somebody's offended you, hurt you, insulted you, the pain you're holding on to, how do you know when that pain has become your own sin problem? Because look what he's saying, don't repay evil for evil, and don't insult people with insult, insult response. So how do you know when their sin has now become your sin because you're doing the thing, or holding on to, or being passive aggressive with, or whatever it is? How do you know when that's become
A problem.
your problem?
I think it, like, in middle school, I had that issue where I always wanted to, like, fit in because I never really, like, fit in with the older kids or, like,
Okay.
so I always, like, struggle with that. So whenever, like, I heard drama, I was like, oh my gosh, like, she's saying bad things about you. And in my head, I was like, oh, I'm being a good friend. I'm looking out for her.
Okay.
But in reality, I was stirring up the fire and I didn't realize it at the
Got it.
time. So I think it starts becoming, like, your issue when either you start doing the same evil that they're doing to you, or that's all you can think about, where it just, like, takes over your life and you're just like, because some people, they just like, oh, I can't stand her. I can't stand her. I'm like, you sound like you're obsessed with her.
Yes. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like the illustration I gave the guys was, hey, Paul tells the Ephesian church, don't let the sun go down. It's fine to be angry, but don't let the sun go down in your anger. So he gives this, like, metaphor of, like, hey, there should be a limit to your hurt. Like, your hurt at some point becomes your responsibility, not their fault. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Your hurt is like something you have to deal with, like whether it's turning into bitterness or anger or resentment, or how do you know when, like, hey, I started off thinking this guy was the sinner who hurt me. Now I have a sin issue. Like, I got a problem, right? That I got to deal with. Like, when do you know you have a problem?
when it starts hurting anybody, whether it's yourself or other people, it's pretty much inflicting them.
Okay.
When it starts taking over, your daily emotions, like, it's okay to be angry, but having it, like, someone once told me this, like, when you're angry, you can easily get agitated with other people, so you can say something that can hurt other people if you're angry in the moment. Or again, you can let your tongue slip at a wrong time and it can affect other people, whether it's their emotions, or you could get angry physically and then throw a punch. So it just depends kind of.
I like what you
how
said
it
too.
got.
Like, if you're holding on, let's say you're angry. So somebody's hurt you, you're angry, you're bitter, whatever it is, you're frustrated with somebody else. That can come out in other relationships too. Like,
Right.
there can be literally trickle down, like, damage that happens because you got a problem at home. You're angry with your brother, your spouse, your mom, your dad, whatever it is, right? And then you're off at school, and the first person you unload on, that person's like, what the heck has just happened, right? And all that's because at some level, that anger, that bitterness left unresolved is making you sick.
Right.
It's making your soul sick, right? I think that's what Paul's saying. Like, you can't hold on to this stuff. That's your responsibility. So much of the time I hear people saying things like, well, they made me. They made me angry. They made me bitter. They made me crazy. They made me whatever, right? And I'm like, that's a dangerous way to think, right? Because at some point what you're saying is, I'm being controlled by something somebody said however long ago, a day ago, a week ago, a month ago.
Right.
And you're not owning your own responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like, you're not owning your own heart at that point. It's like, that ain't good.
Like, eventually, like, I've been able, I mean, I still have my moments. Everybody has their moments. But I've definitely been able to, like, whenever I have an issue with something or someone, I have learned to just go straight to them, which
Okay.
can still be hard. Like, I remember there was a time in like my high school, middle school. It's a lot of stuff in high school, middle school. But I remember during that time there were some things that happened, and I was like, I'm hearing all these things about me at school. I'm just gonna go straight to the source and be like, hey, like, I'm sorry, like, if it came across that way, but I didn't mean it that way.
Okay.
And it took a lot for me to do it, to like go up to them and like confront them about it, because they weren't expecting it. They were like, whoa. But then once we did have that conversation and it's being resolved,
Were
like
you
with
super
that
like
person.
nervous starting the conversation?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Had you thought about it for a while?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
all day. That whole day I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this.
So how did you you say, hey, we need to have a talk?
Yeah. I walked up to them and I was like, hey, can we talk about something real quick? And they're like, sure, what's up? And I basically just was like, I know like all this happened and we just ended up resolving it in the end. But they ended up being like, you actually handled this very maturely and we appreciate it. And I'm like, I would just rather have it be resolved between us, because now in my consciousness, I know I don't have to worry. If I hear it from other people, it doesn't matter to me anymore.
Right.
Because I know that from the source, me and the source are good.
Right.
So if it comes from other people at this point, it doesn't matter to me.
What advice would you give somebody who would say, yeah, but okay, that's middle school or high school, and that's just somebody gossiping or somebody saying something mean or something happened. What would you say to somebody who comes along and says, no, you don't understand. What this person did to me is much deeper, is much more painful, right? Whether it's like a parent totally letting a child down, or like a spouse that cheats, or whatever it is, right? It's like, oh man, this is that you can't even compare your situation to mine. It's so much more painful. How would you tell them to apply this verse?
I would say that what you learn throughout your life, I feel like it's a cycle, like a repeating cycle. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Okay.
Like when you leave high school, you never really leave high school. You're still gonna have the teachers, you're still gonna have the popular kids, like no matter like
You're gonna still have the teachers after high school.
like your mentors.
You're still gonna have like
you're gonna
the
have those
same
people.
problems, just different problems.
Exactly.
Maybe bigger problems, but they're the
Yeah.
same basic problems.
And I think that even if you are mad at someone, although it might be really, really hard
Right.
to talk to them, once you do, like every time I've confronted something or talked about a situation that I feel, there's this huge weight that's just lifted.
You
And
had
it's
that too?
I
Like the
can
weight get
breathe.
lifted off where it's like, okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the piece of advice that I'd give is, perspective is reality. Don't let your emotions control you, no matter what. Because I think it's one of the most powerful things that somebody I look up to taught me is don't let your emotions control who you are,
Okay.
because it can affect other people. And it's okay to mourn. It's okay to have sources to deal with that emotions. But it's not okay to inflict emotions on other people. I personally went through some experiences that was really hard on me, and all I wanted to do was just sit and cry, and I knew that wasn't going to get any better, so I just talked to God about it. And even, I think this was something that Abraham Lincoln did. He wrote letters of anger to his enemies, and then he just threw away and never sent the letters, and that kind of helps as well, as just kind of releasing it in a
Getting
way
it
that
out.
doesn't affect other people.
Okay.
And so I think that's really healthy as well. Like I said, talking to God.
Right.
Because it's not like he's going to tell anybody.
Yeah.
And so,
I love I was listening to a podcast about Martin Luther King Jr., similar line of thinking. He was saying when it comes to non-violent protest and dealing with how to have an outlet for your anger or for your hurt, right? And his was, of course, racism and Jim Crow laws and all this kind of stuff. He was saying that for believers, the outlet is always the problem, not the people. If you're focused on the people and hurting them back, or letting your hurt boil over to them, something's gone wrong.
right.
It should be on the problem,
Exactly.
right? Dealing with I thought that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty strong. Okay, real quick, and I like what you said about letting it go, because can we fast forward let's fast forward here to the suggestions. These are my suggestions, my 3 suggestions for this stuff, right? You got to hand it over to God. I like your thing, like, hey, I
Okay.
wrote it, or I give it to God, and I just let it be His, right? Cast all your anxieties upon Him. And then the second thing I tell people all the time when we're in counseling, I say, let's recall a time when you were the offender. And let's not forget that none of us are perfect.
Right.
And you've hurt some people too in your life, right? And then the last thing I say is, you got to bless the offender, because 1 Corinthians chapter 4, Paul tells, hey, when they cursed us, we blessed them, right? And so you got to figure out, hey, even though this person's hurt me, how do I, number one, let this go, have the conversation, deal with the problem, and then, if given the opportunity, even if they haven't yet received it, heard it, whatever, how can I bless them? How can I do something kind that's full of grace? Because that's what Christ did for me.
Right.
Boom. Are you down? I love it.
I'm down.
I love it. All right, folks. That's about as far as we can go for the live stream tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday night with a new crew. Thank the ladies for being here with me. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace. Love it.